Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. Today is Thursday, August 4th. I think that I failed this summer. I failed it. For myself, not for people, not for family, but I think I failed it to myself because I didn't go on any vacation this summer. Not that I made it a goal to do that. I'm saying this because summer is about to be over. At least the not the calendar summer, but the time to have fun summer. School's gonna be starting up soon, colleges, and it's like the point in the year where it's like, okay, well, summer's not technically over, but it kind of is over, Everything's booting back up and everything's getting ready to go to get back into full swing. And I thought that I would have been able to take a vacation. Not like I need it, but, I thought to myself, hey, why not just, take a trip somewhere and go? I mean, I still have time, right? I still have time to take a vacation if I wanted to. It just would be, I would have to truly see where I would want to go. I probably wouldn't travel out of state just because that would cost me a flight and a hotel, and I'm more comfortable with taking a little vacation, not something drastic or big either, but something small. I'd rather do that in California. And here in California, we are blessed to have both mountains and beaches. Some states have both, California, also Oregon, and Seattle also have them. New York, they kind of got them with the Appalachians right there. They kind of have them too. But those landlocked states, right? I guess Kansas, Missouri, Montana. Well, they have mountains there. They don't really have access to beaches. And let's say, travel to one, coast of the country, And when I grew up, I was always kind of a mountain guy. Because when I was a kid, we used to go camping every summer. We would always go to Yosemite and, just camp out with some family for a week or so. And we would actually really camp out. Tent, campfire. No bathrooms, no shower, my bad. Definitely there were bathrooms, no showers, no power really, which did suck, and no phone service. But back then, man, it was a lot of fun. It was so much fun because, we made the experience fun. We would go bike riding, we would play board games, card games, go to the river, go rafting, and then we would always go to the the Yosemite Valley, and we would that's where we would do all that stuff, and then we would take showers there because that's where you could take a shower. And most people go to the Yosemite Valley anyway, but if you have been there a lot your life, you kind of, at least my family did, we kind of went to these little off these other campgrounds that are higher up than the Yosemite Valley, where it's much cooler than the Yosemite Valley. But, we would still go there, and we used to have a lot of fun. And I remember, it was always just, a really fun time for everybody, because we would just kick back and, just have a lot of fun. And the fact that there was no phone service, you didn't have any, calls from work, you didn't have any, have to worry about things. This was also back when, I didn't really have all that much access to internet. It was back when I had a really cheap phone, like pre-iPhone days, where you couldn't just access internet and not worry about the bill was just skyrocketing. And it was just a lot of fun, Did a lot of hikes there too. I did hike up Half Dome, Yosemite Falls, and let me tell you this. You could you could exercise, run, lift weights. I mean, do whatever endurance workouts that you do. I guarantee you, hiking up mountains is pretty damn tough. Not only because it's just like a lot of walking, which is, it's a blessing when it is just a flat walk, but it's a lot of incline and a lot of like steep, steep, steep incline. You're not just inclining, walking or covering ground with nothing but your shoes and your shirt, right? You got like a backpack, some waters, food, um, gizmos, maybe a pair of socks in case one of them gets all soiled, stuff like that. Water bottles and all that. It's just like a lot of baggage that you got to carry because you got to survive on this trip because you can't just go and not have any fuel, to keep going, right? It almost kind of brings you back to days where people had to go on voyages across the country to see what's out there. I mean, it's clearly not that, but it does kind of bring you back to that type of, how that might have felt. I don't know what it is. I think it's because you're like just in nature and you just get that feel like, oh man, I am surrounded by just nature. I know it's a national park and it's, not technically the wild, like super wild. Like there's people, tourists everywhere. There's people hiking along with you. It's not like you're by yourself. But just that, that feeling of, being with nature and hearing the animals and hearing the birds and seeing like rodents and squirrels just, climb up trees and all that and seeing these great views along the hiking trail. I mean, it's just something about it that brings out that, oh yeah, I'm like, we are one with nature. Like this is fun. It's like, I think that, playing video games and, talking with my friends is like the best thing that I can do. But it's like, no, this is really where it is all at because you just feel good. And the air is so fresh. It's not as hot as it is, in the valley. It's like, dang, this feels good. This is great. So I miss that. I do miss that. I mean, that was, I like to tell myself that I would do it again, but I don't know if I would do the straight camp. Maybe rent a cabin. Maybe rent like a little, not a hotel, but like a cabin and still do that because I don't know if I could go days without showering like I used to when I was much younger. Right? I mean, like when you get older to a certain age in your life, you're like, oh man, I got to shower every single day because I just cannot, be around people smelling like this or looking like this. I just can't. So those days are officially over. I need a cabin with running water, power, internet, and all that good stuff. Maybe not internet, but like at least running water and a shower. I would love that. I would love to have that. Some of my friends actually, they went even to the more extreme. They would go backpacking, and I mean like just like on a trail, going to a destination with nothing but what's on your back in your backpack. Just survive for days. That means no shower unless you like found a lake or a river and just like took a dip. But like I was like, dude, I mean, how did you do that? I mean, where do you go to the bathroom? That's like also a thing. It's like whenever I go camping, there's always like a public bathroom there. Even where there's no showers, there's a public bathroom at least. That way you can do your business. Oh man, but I could not imagine actually backpacking. I mean, I think I would do it, but I feel like I would just be like, oh man, like I'm so, at least for the first day, I'd be like, I'm out of my element. What am I doing? What is this? But, at the end of the day, I'd be like, all right, I mean, we're cool, right? This is fine. But yeah, those were fun times. I also love going to the beach. I wasn't a big beach guy growing up because just my family preferred mountains and camping as to like a day at the beach because I've never like camped at the beach, but I have like spent like, significant like days at a beach and or like near a beach and like gone to a beach, a few days in a row. And it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. There's like, I think that the beaches in California, and I've only been to beaches in California and Hawaii. I gotta tell you this, man. I hear a lot of things about other beaches, normally on the East Coast, whether it's New York, Jersey Shore, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, even, the Gulf states. I've heard that the water there is kind of warm. Now, I've the Caribbean. I've never been there, but I don't think I would want to take a dip in the summer when it's hot, and be in like bath water. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that wouldn't be refreshing. I guess it's because I'm used to going to a beach where it's warm, and then you go into the water and it's cool or cold. That way it feels refreshing. I don't know. Maybe I need to venture out to the East Coast to see what that is all about. I also hear that the humidity there is also pretty bad, but I don't believe it's as bad as people say. If it really was that bad, would people still be living there? Like, I mean, I don't see why people would live there if the humidity is unbearable, right? Like, I just don't. I don't think that's. I don't think it could be that bad. Now, it could be completely wrong. I might sound very, very, very stupid and naive. I mean, I've never been there. I think that the people there would, have a brain. That way they, it's like, oh, I feel sticky when I walk out my house. I'm leaving here, right? Like, I mean, that's just what people say. Maybe you get used to it. Maybe it just becomes like second nature. Like, all right, I'm about to go outside. I'm about to get sticky. Let's do it. Let's get it. But I there must be more than more of an appeal to just being humid and sticky, right? There's got to be something to the East Coast, at least, because sometimes I get a little confused of why people even live there. Not just because of the heat, not just because it gets, humidity and getting sticky, but like there are hurricanes that ravage the East Coast. Not just like Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, but like New York too. They get all the way up to New York. And like, I just feel like, dude, if there's like a natural disaster, like you have like certain months of the year that these disasters are going to happen, why would you live there? I would much rather live on the West Coast where you don't get that, but you get earthquakes that could, potentially break all of California off the country, off the continent. It's the adrenaline of not knowing when that will happen, but it will happen eventually. It will happen. But you never know. Hurricane, you do know, right? And you have to plan around it. You got to board up your house every single year. You got to buy sandbags. You got to prepare your food. It just sounds like a lot of money that you got to spend in order to live there. You got to have flood insurance, hurricane insurance. It's just like what, like, what's the point? Why live there when I know my house might be destroyed every year? It's just like, what's the point? I'm not trying to sound elitist, by the way. I'm not trying to sound like I know what I'm talking about. I clearly do, or I clearly don't. It's just like it's just something that I've always kind of, wondered. But that's because I got there because I was talking about beaches. What the hell am I talking about, right? I'm more of a mountain guy. I'll say that. But some of the beach areas around, California, Pismo, Cayucas, Avila, Morro Bay, Santa Cruz, they like have a blend. They got a little bit of mountains and some beach, which is just a nice sight to see. I have to admit it because, it's just, it's a nice sight. They complement each other. When you at a beach in California, there's also a little bit of mountains within like a couple miles of the beach, which make it look even better. So if I had to pick between the two, mountains or beaches, I'd go mountains because there's lakes and rivers and mountains, and you can kind of get that beach feel with that while you're in the mountains. So, the part of getting in the water, like beaches have those coastal cities, the pier, sometimes an amusement park or a fair. And that also kind of like ties in the whole experience, and it just, it makes the beach experience even better, I think. Plus that beach sunset, it's like gorgeous, But if I had to pick one, I think I'm going to go mountains. Just because I've had more experience there, and you can have just as much fun in the mountains as you can in the beach, if not even more. More opportunities, more things you can do. Yeah, it's not as cliche or as beautiful as a beach can look, but it's still a great time. It's still a lot of fun. Speaking of vacation and places I would want to go, where I've been thinking like I would want to go. There was a point in my life when I wanted to actually visit the entire country, or is it continent of Europe. I made plans to do it, sort of very loose plans. I was wanting to go and travel from Eastern Europe to Western Europe and eventually get back on a plane from London and head back to the States. Now that plan fell through because of COVID-19 happened the year I was supposed to go. What was I actually going to go? In my mind, I wanted to. My wallet probably would not have allowed me. I probably would have ran out of money the first day, but, it would have been quite the adventure. My plan was to just not really hike, but I guess hitchhike across Europe and try to find places to stay, people to meet, things to do, food to eat. I mean, I hear that the food there is not as filling as it would be in America, so I'd probably have to eat a lot of food there. I also hear that they are not big fans of water, H2O, what I have right now. So that would kind of suck because I need water to survive. I can't just hydrate on wine all day and night. I don't know how they do it. Wine and Perrier, however the French say it. That to me just doesn't sound like a great substitute for decent hydration. So back to the top 5 countries I would want to visit in Europe, because let's face it, the top 5 places I want to visit in the world are all in Europe. So I'm just gonna go top 5 places I would want to visit in the world. All right, whatever, or you can say Europe, whatever you want. I'm not trying to get people upset about me. This is just what I think. All right. So top 5 places I would want to travel to. Number 1's got to be Italy. All right, Italy is probably the most sought after country to visit. It's probably number 1 on almost everybody's list. Italy. You got cities like Florence, Milan, Rome, Vatican City, Venice, a bunch of places that have history and they just look cool. I feel like Italy's architecture and design and just the way the vibe of Italy, it just looks like very laid back, very lazy, and a lot of just looking around. Because I guess you could say for the entire vibe of Europe is, when I look at Europe, when I look at major countries in Europe, and mainly Italy and a couple of other southern European countries, I feel like they have a very laid back, almost lazy lifestyle. They just kind of sit out all the time. They drink wine, they drink coffee, pizza, pasta, of all different varieties from every other region of Italy, and just kind of, hang brain and just have fun. Just kind of, I feel like they're drunk all the time, to be honest with you. I feel like they have a huge wine consumption that it just becomes a problem. But I could be wrong, though. Italians could be some of the most hardworking people I've ever met. I've just never been there. Sorry for any of the Italians that I offended. I did not mean to. Ciao bella. But Italy, for one, at number 1 that I would want to go to, just because of the history, the food, obviously. I love pasta. I love spaghetti. I adore pizza. It's my favorite food of all time. And I want to see if it's as good as Domino's in the States. It probably isn't, I'll be honest with you. But I just want to see how good it is and see how good Americans made it. How much better Americans made it. Because I gotta tell you this, man. Right? I just feel like the way Italy operates, the way Italy is structured, laid back, skinny. However the hell they're so skinny, I have no idea. All they eat is pasta all day. I feel like their pizza probably isn't as big as ours. Like if you go to New York, which I've never been to, but if you go to New York and you go and you get a slice of pizza, it's probably a pretty good decent size. I imagine you go to Italy and in some parts the pizza might be like a little square thing. Like a little square thing, little Neapolitan thing. Not like a New York slice big. You know what I'm saying? And even like, compared to like a New York slice to like a little Caesar slice. Doughy, thick, can be crispy, loaded with cheese, ketchup for sauce. I bet you it's nothing like we have in America. Absolutely nothing. Spaghetti might be a little bit closer. I feel like spaghetti in its natural, I guess form in Italy is probably a little bit more flavorful, a little bit more meaty than ours. Probably not as, I would say that maybe thicker. I feel like the noodles in Italy are going to be like much more authentic, obviously much more thicker, made of love, with from whoever made it. I just get that vibe, but I feel like America has pretty much nailed spaghetti how it would be nailed in Italy. Pizza though, I doubt it. I truly doubt that we have even close to the same pizza that they have in Italy. I don't think that we do. Country number 2. That would be Greece. I know that Greece is not in a very good state as an economy, as a country, or at least that's what I'm told by, the news and whatever I've heard. But if I were to go there, I would definitely report and be like, hey, Greece is fine, or yo, Greece is not good. But nonetheless, I would love to travel there. Why? Because of the history of that entire nation. The birthplace, or for what they tell me, the birthplace of democracy. You got Socrates, you got Prometheus, you have Zeus, you have Apollo, you have Poseidon, all those boys that lived in that time period and in that country itself. Athena, you have Athens, you have Sparta, you have Mykonos, you have all those beautiful islands that just look like a postcard, drop dead gorgeous. I would love to visit that country and just say, hey, Greece, welcome to Al. Or Al is here to experience Greece. I'm pretty sure I would be the most hated man there because I would be flamboyantly American. And I don't know if Europeans really dig that or care all about, Americans. Who knows? Well, they should because, maybe I'll talk about that later. But Greece. I'm not sure if Greece has any good standout food besides feta cheese and Greek yogurt. That's pretty much all I know about Greek food. Feta cheese and Greek yogurt. I've never had any of them. I'm sure they're delightful. And what a better opportunity than to go to the birthplace of Greek yogurt and to try authentic Greek yogurt. And put some, raspberries, some strawberries, some blueberries in them, grown from Greece, hopefully, and to see what it's all about. I would love to do that. Greece is definitely a number 2 spot on my list because I want to see the Parthenon. I want to see the Acropolis. I want to see Sparta. I want to see where the Battle of 300 took place. Those badasses. I want to see the hot gates of Thermopylae. My God, that'd be so sick. Could you imagine me, your boy, at the same place where King Leonidas was? Man, I would feel like a king. I would feel like such a king. I probably wouldn't even want to leave Greece because I would just feel that kingliness just melt all over me. Man, I kind of need that right now, to be honest with you. I feel like that would just make my entire life if I were to stand where Gerard Butler stood at the Battle of 300 against those Persians. Man, I think I would just, want to run through a damn wall at that point. Jesus Christ, take me to where they first had the Olympics. I want to climb Mount Olympus. or whatever it's called, wherever Hercules is from. I want to climb that too. I want to see where the Battle of Troy was taking place. I want to see all that. Paris, Achilles, I want to see all that shit. I want to see all that. I want to see. Is that technically Eastern Europe? I know it's not like, it's not like Hungary or like Yugoslavia. It's not like Montenegro. Isn't that a country? Isn't like Montenegro like sort of over there? I don't know. I can't remember. But yes, I would love to go there. I would love to see that place too. Number three. This is just because I would be able to get around easier. It's England. I mean, I speak English. I mean, I feel like I speak the better English than they do. It's called water, not water, honestly. Yeah, I feel like I'd be able to get around there easily. Say, what's up, chaps? How we doing? Hello, lads. How you doing, bruv? I could easily, get by in England. Now, wherever I land, London, Manchester, Liverpool, Wales, I could do it all. Easy. I would be able to, see the cobblestone streets. I would see some castles, whether it be where the Queen lives or Buckingham Palace or, wherever Garfield was in The Tale of Two Kitties. I mean, that would be such a fun country to visit. And I would go dressed up as a colonial American soldier and be like, "What's up, bitches? Guess who's in town?" That's right, the winners. No, I wouldn't do that because I'd probably get kicked out of the country. But yeah, I would want to go see all those places: Big Ben, the Big Clock, the London Bridge, the what's it called? The Ferris wheel eye. That'd be pretty cool to see. But yeah, I feel like the King of Man needs to experience, the old world of Europe. I want to see those green plains where the Vikings and the Saxons had waged war and battles over land. I mean, wouldn't that be so sick to see, to actually stand on a country that is so much older than ours, and to see, how far it has come, and to see, the cliffs of Dover. Oh man, it would be so cool. It would be so sick. I would absolutely love to visit England, and just to, the food might be a little. Okay. You know what? I'm not gonna speak ill on the food there because I've never had the food there, but I've heard that the food there sucks. But also, I don't believe what I'm told. I'm not going to just, fall under peer pressure and be gullible and be like, yeah, the food there sucks. That's what I've heard. I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to go there and I'm going to have a London roast or Sunday roast. I'm going to have, what else do they have there? I'm going to have fish and chips. I'm going to have some tea with milk, and I'm going to try that shit. And I'm going to report back and be like, hey, you know what? The media has told you lies about food in England. It's actually breathtaking. I'm going to try a full English breakfast with all the fixings, the eggs, beans, toast, bacon, tomatoes, the damn, what is it called? The blood sausage. I'm going to have all that shit. I'm going to report back to you and be like, hey, guess what? Everybody who's told you that it sucks is lying, because it's not that bad, or it could be bad, but for the people, we need the firsthand experience in, eating English food, and I'll report that back if I ever do go. But just know me right now, my mentality towards this. I'm pulling for you, England. I don't think your food is as bad as people say, because who are they to judge you? Huh? Who are they to judge? I will try Vegemite. I will try that, and I will see how good a bloomin' onion is. All right, and I will try all your steaks, and I will see if if all that's any good. All right, country number 4. God, I'm sorry I got on that tangent, but I just had to. This was a toss-up. I was either gonna go France or Switzerland. But I went with Switzerland because I like chocolate. I feel like I need to try the Swiss chocolate besides Toblerone. I'm not sure how authentic Toblerone is. So I would want to try actual Swiss chocolate, and I hope that it's made in a factory or like a chocolate factory that's in the Swiss mountains or the Swiss Alps. Wouldn't that be amazing? Just to hike up the Swiss Alps, just to go to a chocolate factory to get some Swiss chocolate. Wouldn't that be great? I mean, I would absolutely love it. I mean, that would be an absolutely fun time because I've seen pictures of the Swiss Alps, and I have to say they look breathtaking. They look amazing. I would absolutely love to hike that. I've heard that there's no predators there. There's no beasts. There's no animals that want to kill you. I have heard that it's, the people there are nice and gorgeous and, just peaceful. I would love to go there. Would you have me, Switzerland? Would you allow me to go to your country, to admire your culture, to see everything there? I mean, it would be such a blast, and I think that I would love it there. Now, I just hope that you would have me, because I would love to talk, positive about you. Now, of course, if you don't want to have me, we might have some words to be shared, but that's where I would want to go for my number 4th choice in the places that I would love to visit. I feel like that place would be a lot of fun to see. And number 5 would be Spain, I think, just because, I enjoy Spanish architecture. I think it looks pretty cool. I wouldn't get by at all with language. I would just be a sitting duck. I'm not going to start talking like this because that's just silly. Please pronounce your S's and Z's correctly, Spain. And I've heard that's the reason why they do that is because I think that the King of Spain one time in their country's period had a lisp. So he had a lisp and they all just kind of went along with it. To me, that just sounds like a people that is, will just, believe whatever, the king says. I mean, were they not like thinking like, this guy can't even say S's or Z's correctly? Like, what the fuck are we doing? So, I would love to go to Barcelona to see, the city of Barcelona. No, I'm just kidding. That'd be fucking stupid. No. I would though, but I wouldn't talk like that, and I would actually kind of laugh at everybody who did talk like that because that's just insane. I mean, your language actually has a lisp in it, a constant lisp, and it's just like it's crazy. So yeah, top 5 countries I would go to: Italy, Greece, England, Switzerland, and Spain. I think that's a definitive list. Places in Europe that you would want to go to. Honorable mentions: Germany for beer, sausages, and brats for sure. France for baguettes and croissants for sure. Maybe some snails. I would try snails too. Sweden for Swedish meatballs, I guess. Swedish, food. Maybe I'll have some ale. Maybe I'll see a Viking ship or something like that. What else is an honorable mention? Ireland. I'd love to have some whiskey there. Just see the plains or the hills of Ireland. And yeah, that's about it. That's all the places I would travel to if I could. And what I would like to see. Moving on, though. So, I've been late to this for a long time. And it's something that I, always kind of wanted to do, but I never got around to it. And I've heard nothing but great things about it. And it's, it's not an experience. It's not a, place I went to. It's a movie. It's a movie that I finally saw after, so many years of it just, being there. And people telling me that it's the best and it's so good and it's like worth your time and all that. And I've seen other movies like it, and like I'm like, do I really need to see it? I mean, I've seen movies that are just like it or kind of like it, and they're like, oh, this is how much better could it be, right? So I finally got around to watching The Godfather, and me, I've never ever talked about wanting to watch it or putting it on my list or whatever. Just like I was watching. Actually, before that, The Offer, You know, it's a docu series, a docu show. It's a show, but it's like it's a depicting of what happened to make The Godfather. You know how it, you know, what happened behind the scenes to get The Godfather made. You know, the movie made. And I watched one episode of that, and I'm like, pause. I need to watch The Godfather before I even fucking watch this. So I'm like, all right, I watched The Godfather. I gotta tell you this, man. I've seen Goodfellas. I've seen The Departed. I've seen The Irishman. I've seen, you know, a bunch of other mob movies, right? I've seen Shark Tale. And I have to admit, I think that The Godfather is the best mob movie ever made. I really, really do. Because it doesn't rely on the flashiness, the evilness, you know, the fantasy about it. It doesn't rely on that. I think what The Godfather relies on is the reality of all these people involved in the quote family business are in fact a family, and that they truly all love each other in such a way that they will do whatever it takes to keep them safe. And yes, that's in Goodfellas, that's in Irishman, that's in The Departed. But I feel like with this movie in particular, the family dynamic is so strong, and yet, you know, so influences how they operate their business, that to the best that I've ever seen, right? That, you know, the best that I've ever seen, because like you made me think that the people who were involved in the mob or the mafia, you know, they didn't see themselves as bad people. Whereas in movies like Goodfellas, you know, they kind of have they don't feel like they're the bad guy, but they feel like they're in power. And I kind of get the feel that they think that they're have a power dynamic to them. Whereas in The Godfather, it's just like, you know, people trying to live their lives the best that they can, you know, with all their family members and the stuff going on, how we can, you know, deal with these problems. I just feel like the family dynamic is so much stronger in The Godfather than in any other mob movie that I've ever seen. And it really emphasizes the family in the family business, not to mention the incredible performances by everybody involved in the movie. And, you know, how everybody's dynamic with each other, with the story, with what's happening, how it even begins and what it's all about, and how the baton is, you know, tossed and how it, you know, moves forward. Because I also watched The Godfather Part 2, and that also is very great. And how that, you know, doesn't become just like a bad sequel, but it's just, it does everything right, man. Like, I never, you know, thought that I needed to see it, because I'm like, I've seen Goodfellas and I'm good. But there's just, it's really the family thing that makes it so, like, you know, I think watchable and even rewatchable, just of how the family dynamic is and how everybody just kind of loves each other. And how everybody can kind of relate to it, because, like, yeah, you love your family too. I mean, I love my family. You love your family. I mean, it's a very relatable story. And I feel like it was so worth it. You know, I watched it in like one sitting, and I'm like, oh my God, I see it now. I see why people love this movie and why it's considered like one of the best movies ever made. It truly is. And, you know, the way that it's shot too, for when it came out in 1972, it's like, whoa, this movie, it feels like it's light years ahead of whatever was coming out at that time. You know, it's just like the way it was shot, orchestrated, you know, the how the story was told, the perspectives, the moments in it. Oh my God, it's just so good. The moment when Michael, spoiler alert, kills the two guys in the restaurant is so damn good. The moment when Sonny, you know, gets hoodwinked into getting killed, crazy, just crazy moments. It's like you wouldn't have expected that in a movie from the 1970s. You just wouldn't. But The Godfather did it. And I was like, this is, and the way that it ends too, and it's just like, wow, this is great. And the way that the second movie, The Godfather Part 2, ends is just like, whoa, this is crazy. Oh man, I mean, like, and it shows you, like, the how the mob originated in New York, and how it was formed in New York, and how it migrated to Vegas for some people. It's like, whoa, this is such a this is an epic. Like, this is so damn good. Both movies were so damn good. But if I had to pick between one or two, I think that I'm gonna have to go with one, because one had such crazy moments for me that I just was like, whoa, this was made back in the 70s. Like, they had this in the 70s. This is so crazy. So I think that The Godfather Part 1 is like a perfect movie. Godfather Part 2 is great too. But I think if I had to pick between the two, Godfather 1. For sure. And that brings me to The Offer, the show that focuses on how the first movie, The Godfather, was made. And man, that show was so cool, man, because it just like brings back what classic Hollywood was back in the 70s, and just how everybody was so cool back then. People partied, they made movies, they had fun, they, went out. It was such a cool vibe to see that, and to see how the lot was, a Paramount lot. And I've been to Universal Studios, and I've seen the lot in the studio tour, and it's just something that I love to visit, because it's just so cool to see how that stuff is made, how movies are made. And it's very, the show is like very, very pro movie, which I love because it's a TV show. And how movies are just like an experience to, to get the audience's mind off the harshness of the world and your day-to-day problems, and just kind of like ease off that, and just like, suck yourself into the movies. Like, it's so fun to watch, because like it's clearly like, pro theater and pro movie. The Offer is a series, and it's just like, oh, this is so nice to see. This is such a breath of fresh air. Like, I love this. So if you have a chance, if you have Paramount Plus, if you have time, it's 10 episodes, but I guarantee you it is worth the watch. It's got Miles Teller in it. If you're a fan of him after Top Gun Maverick, or you just want to see something decent or cool, watch The Offer. The Offer is so cool. I don't know how accurate it is, to, the actual events of making The Godfather, but I can tell you this: the producer who made The Godfather is also, wrote the book that the show is based off of, and that person is also a producer on the show The Offer. So I would imagine it'd be pretty accurate, or pretty truthful to what actually happened. So yeah, I would definitely give it a shot. Nobody's really put into bad light that I could, I could assume. Like, there's some TV shows that do depict like events, and they kind of like, you can really tell that they kind of swing things away just to make it entertaining, winning time. But as far as I can tell, like, nothing in this show like blatantly does that I can tell. But yeah, really good show. Really good show. I highly recommend it. Moving on. Staying in TV shows, I think that it's a perfect time to talk about. Well, I feel like I've calmed down on the Obi-Wan stuff right now. I feel like that show for me was very disappointing, and just, not the show that I think anybody of us ever, expected how it would, turn out. But this new show that's coming out in now September, Andor. I haven't talked about this much at all, because I feel like the show itself kind of just snuck up on us, because we kind of like, we're all talking about Obi-Wan, and then forgot that Andor was supposed to come out, and because all of our attention was on Obi-Wan, then that how that show has to be the best, and it ended up being like, just meh, at least for me. But this show Andor, man, I mean, if you don't know what Andor is, it's the last name of a character in Rogue One called Cassian Andor, who was a defective of the, who not a defective, but one of the first members of like the rebellion to help start the rebellion against the Empire in Star Wars. He's one of the main characters in Rogue One. Sacrifices himself. Spoiler alert. To get the plans to Princess Leia to kick off, Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. That's the Disney canon for you. And I like Rogue One a lot, but I do think that there's another cut out there that will never see the light of day. The Gareth Edwards cut. That is probably much more gruesome and much more brutal than what we actually got in theaters. But that movie had a bunch of production hell, reshoot hell, bad reports, bad, stuff happening. And the movie made its release date, against the grace of God. But it's like, I feel like there's a lot of stuff out there that we don't know about that movie. And I would absolutely love to know what actually happened, but we never will. But, this show's going to be taking place years before Rogue One, years before Episode 4 of Star Wars. And it's focusing on the beginnings of the rebellion, the beginnings of the people rising up against the Galactic Empire and be like, you know what, you fuckos are just not good for us, and we don't want to be controlled by the Empire, so we're gonna resist it, rebel against it, and this is the beginning of that. And I'm not, I'm intrigued by the story of how it's going to begin, and we see the beginnings of the rebellion, right? They went with this marketing tool, not tool, but I guess you could call it what would you call it? I guess this event that they want to do. It's called televising the rebellion. That's what they kind of talked about that in the Star Wars celebration. Back in whenever, I think April it was, they were going to televise the rebellion, which is I guess in a way, put all these shows about the beginning of the Rebel Alliance on Disney Plus, and build up to Star Wars Episode 4. Even though we already kind of did that with Rogue One, they want to go back even further, see the very, very beginnings. Even though we kind of got that too in Rebels and in Clone Wars a little bit, we were going to go even and do more with live action stuff. And I think that one of the things that actually surprised me the most about this show is how different it looks from, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and even Obi-Wan. It's been reported that the show does not use the volume, which is the technology that they use in Mandalorian to, create these, over sweeping shots of a giant vistas and stuff like that. But they're not actually at a location. They're just surrounded by this, giant screen that don't get me wrong, looks really, really good. Really, really good. But I think what this show is intriguing for me is because they're kind of doing away with that and going more of a traditional, grittier, shooting on location type of vibe. And I can see it. And I gotta tell you this, man. I really, really like that direction, because Rogue One to me felt, even though it could have been more grittier, it felt like the grittier Star Wars that we all kind of wanted to see, and wanted to see the struggle of the rebellion against the Empire. You got that in Episode 4, 5, and 6, right? But those weren't centered around just the rebellion, right? That was Han, Luke, and Leia's story. And they were always at the forefront. They were the leaders. They were always they were in the shit, but they weren't in the shit on the other planets. That also, they didn't have Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, or Princess Leia on the battlefield, right? Or their leadership. I want to see the rebels on these, terrible looking planets just get, absolutely slaughtered by the Empire, because that is what happened, right? For the Empire to get that much control, a lot of killing had to have been done, and I think that's what the show's kind of leaning into. Maybe not going for, but kind of leaning into, of how powerful the Empire is and how powerful they are, because I'll be honest with you, every single Star Wars property that has ever been released has only had the Empire, right? The stormtroopers just being bumbling idiots who can't hit a target. And I feel like in this show, I'm not gonna say they're fully gonna go against their formula, but I get a feeling that they're actually gonna try to make the Empire look menacing in this series and look like an actual threat that actually, takes out people, right? And that's something that's interesting for me because I want to see rebels getting, slaughtered, rebels losing battles, and rebels, having to, rise above all their struggles. Not just rise above because they're the heroes and they have to for the story, but rise up and defeat the Empire after they've been beaten multiple times, or even not succeed, right? I'm all for that too, and I feel that's what we're going to get in this. Now, I'm not going to totally go on a limb and say like this is the good Star Wars. This is what we wanted, and now they're giving it to us. I can't say that because they have burned me in the past. They've been very candy ass in the past about being different and being having a different tone and a different taste, but it's all been the fucking same. The stormtroopers still can't hit shit. They suck at everything, and they get fooled all the time. It's like I don't want to see that anymore. I'm done with that. Like that. That's so. It's just stupid now. Like it's just become so silly, and I would say like with the Obi-Wan series, that has kind of pushed me even more to the fact that I don't care about the Empire. Like, don't even have them in the movie anymore because they mean nothing. They don't do anything. They just sit there and get shot at, and that's it. And they're supposed to be, the mighty galactic empire. How do they get this much control of the galaxy? Show us that control. Show us how they actually succeeded, because they can't just walk in there and just, take command, right? I mean, there's got to be some resistance. I think that this show, Andor, is going to show that. The struggle between the rebellion and the Empire, the tug of war, right? The battles, the guerrilla fighting, that kind of stuff. Show me that. I want to see that. And I feel like it's going in that direction. When I see these trailers, I don't see any of that bullshit humor that they're trying to pull. I don't see any of that, lame ass, joke to just take your mind off the plot because they don't know what they're doing with the plot. To distract you. I don't see any of that, and I get a very, espionage type, CIA fuckery type of, vibe with the show's trailers, and I just hope that they can deliver on that, because if they do, and it's actually very good, then I'm excited. I mean, they have, I think so far for this season, they have 12 episodes. Now, if they're going to try some bullshit like they did with Obi-Wan and make them all half an hour, I'll be pissed off, because why do that? Why not just put on fucking television? But I'm just happy that it's more than like 6 or 8 episodes. So much more happy, because it feels like there's more story to tell and more that they want to show when they have more than fucking 8 episodes. I mean, really? I don't want to sound like a person that says like I need this many episodes for a show to be good. No, that's not it at all. But in the fact that, how Disney has been doing their series is, with pretty, shitty episode lengths and not that many episodes, and like, oh, that's the story, wrap it up, boys, that's it, that's all we got. It's just like when you hear that it's more, for me, I just kind of perk up a little bit more, because it's like, yes, give me more. I want more. Like, I don't want any of this bullshit 8 episodes. And there's already going to be another season that's planned. So that's good, right? That's great. That's fantastic. And I just hope it's good. I really, really do. I don't want it to be bad. It can't afford to be bad. I mean, this is a show that was overshadowed by Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? And Obi-Wan Kenobi, in my opinion, took a shit. Right? I'm hoping that this Andor show is better than Obi-Wan. I think it will be, but you never know with Disney. They put out some banging trailers, and their shit becomes shit. So we'll see. But I'm positive. I'm actually really positive. But my positivity can only go so far, until I'm burned yet again. Last bit of news that I'll talk about is actually kind of funny because nobody saw it coming and no one thought that it would actually happen. And the fact that it is happening is, I guess, just really sucks for this streaming service. And that's the fact that Batgirl is no longer happening at Warner Brothers or HBO Max. And, my way of saying it right then and there was the nice way of saying it. There have been articles that have said, and I quote, Batgirl, sorry, did I say Batgirl before that? I don't know. Batgirl killed at HBO Max. Straight up killed. People have tweeted, headlines and put up headlines that Batgirl has been killed at HBO Max. And the fact that the movie has pretty much 90% done shooting and about to come out, I think it was supposed to come out next year, I think. They straight up canceled it. It's not coming out. It will not be finished. It will not debut on anything. Not theaters, not HBO Max, nothing. It's just crazy to me. And it's all becoming because of this new leadership at Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers Discovery now. I guess the whoever took over is we don't see a profit in Batgirl. We're just gonna can it. Not even try to get our money back. Nothing. Just can it, cancel it, whatever. To me, that's insane. Because if you're gonna go all this way to make a movie and spend I think it was reported $90 million and just not even show it, not even try to get any money back, it's damn, dude. It's almost the fact these new owners or these new people in leadership are we're gonna flip this entire thing on its head. We're going to cancel more movies, more TV shows. They've already pulled a couple of HBO Max original movies off of the service already, which to me was insane because it's those are your properties. You're gonna take them off for what? They're yours. And I guess it's because to get the costs back down, which is it makes no sense to me because how does a streaming service even make any more money besides just people subscribing, right? Viewership wouldn't give you money, right? Just because a thing is on there and you stream it for so many hours, you don't get money for that, right? Unless there's something that I don't know about streaming services, which is definitely a possibility. How do you make money on that, right? It just it doesn't make any sense to me. But just how crazy that they were able to just cancel that movie and quote unquote kill it is mind-boggling. It just seems they're gonna reshape everything. I mean, it almost seems like anything can be pulled at this point. You could imagine that they might pull other movies, other projects. They could pull. I know they pulled that fucking stupid ass Scooby-Doo sequel. I think it was Scoob. The movie was called Scoob. I mean, be honest. Let's be honest. Who the fuck even saw that? Why didn't you just call it Scooby-Doo? Why you gotta call it Scoob? Why do you gotta be we know what it is. Just call it Scooby-Doo. The fuck is your problem? But who's next? I read that it was because they didn't see it to, one, be a movie that people would want to see in the theater. And I heard that also they just kind of want to be done with that HBO Max thing. When they did that thing with the pandemic and put a bunch of movies on HBO Max and in theaters, they want to be done with that. They want to produce movies that are, made for the theaters so they can make money, which is in a way, that's great because theaters are going to be back, right? Remember, there was a point in time where people were like, "Oh, are theaters ever going to be back? Will people go back to the movie theaters?" Yes, sir, we will. I mean, look at Top Gun Maverick. It has made so much money and it's still making money. So just put out a good movie and we'll see it in theaters, Which is what I want. I want that. I feel up until the pandemic, movies were still great. But now that we had a pandemic and that we didn't have movies and movies were put on streaming services, and while that's convenient and cool and easy to do, it does not beat the theater. I am so sorry. But if you make a movie for the theater. You just have to see it. Like Top Gun Maverick, that shit was born for the theater. It was made for the theater. And seeing it in the IMAX theater, my God, so worth it. So I hope that this is a good thing. I hope this ends up being a good thing, especially for Warner Brothers, to make their movies more for the theater, the theatrical experience, because that's what it's really all about, man. That's what it's all about, baby. Let's bring movies back into theaters. Let's make them let's make movies for the theaters now, right? That's just what I want to see now. Sure, you can make a movie for streaming services. You can make a movie for, on TV or live on demand or whatever you want to do. But also make movies for the theater. Because when they are for the theater, man, nothing beats it. And it makes going to the theater so much worth it. I mean, that's why I feel like also not just Top Gun, but Dune made for the theater. Made for the movie theater. And to whoever saw on HBO Max, do you. I'm glad you saw it. If you liked it, I'm glad you liked it. But you definitely missed out on the theatrical experience with that. Just, maybe, take a chance more. Go to the theater. Especially if you've heard that it's great and it's good for theaters, Maybe you'll like it. Maybe you won't, though. All right, people. That's going to be it for me today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Remember, you can find this episode and all my episodes on, all the podcast feeds under Intelligent Moron with Alex Silva. This episode and these episodes in this podcast drops every Thursday at 6 a.m. And, remember to leave a like, subscribe, rate, review, thumbs up, do all that good stuff, comment, leave me suggestions, DM me on social media, do all that. All that's in the description below. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys next week.